We'll be taking a look at the Shure MVX2U digital audio interface, which is an adapter for your XLR microphones to hook it up to your laptop or computer, and compatible with the SM7B. Included is the quick start guide, owner's manual, USB-C to USB-C cable. The Shure MVX2U audio interface has a XLR connection where you can connect it straight to the microphone or use the XLR cable. Then it has a USB-C connection, which is different from the previous model. Then we have the mini stereo 3.5mm where you can monitor the mix from the microphone or the playback. Definitely heavier than I thought it would be, but it has a all metal casing. We'll be switching over to the Shure MVX2U audio interface in connection with the ShurePlus MOTIV app. Desktop version. A few things to keep in mind is by default the phantom power will be on. Some microphones aren't affected, some need it, and some will be damaged by the phantom power, so be sure to check ahead of time before you connect it. And one issue currently that I've noticed at the time of this recording that's probably going to be fixed with the firmware is that even though it memorizes all the settings that you change in the interface, once you disconnect it and then reconnect it with power again, the gain always goes back to 60. So be careful when connecting it. Make sure you fix the gain until the issue is fixed. Check. We are in the ShurePlus MOTIV app with the MVX2U connected, and if your device needs a firmware upgrade, it lets you know right away. Currently we are using the firmware package 1.1.1342. In auto level mode, a lot of these settings are simplified for you, and if you have settings that you like for different types of situations, you can save them as a preset. And right now we are in near mode, but you can also use far away mode. The mic position is in far mode. It's about 18 inches away from me, and it picks up a lot of the room noise, so I tend to keep it in near mode. But if you were to use far mode, you of course could use post-production to take out some of the noise, or whatever software you use can have its own background noise removal. And then with tone, you have dark, natural, and bright. The dark tone adds a little kind of more bass to it, just very subtle, than the natural, and a subtle brightness to your voice when it's in bright. Then we have the gain. So depending on how you're going to use the application of the microphone, whether recording instruments or a voice, you can have the gain quieter or normal or louder. Then the condenser microphone uses phantom power, so I need this on. But if you didn't need phantom power, you could turn this off. And this is where you mute the mic. The indicator light should turn red. And this is where we monitor the mix. When you have your headphones connected to the audio interface, where you can just hear the mic, or you can hear playback, or a mix of both. And in manual mode, I set the dB to 40, and as I said earlier, that every time I reconnected, it always goes back to 60, causing some feedback in the headphones. Some new settings here is the equalizer, where you can EQ 5 different bands. It should be enough for most people. And with the high pass filter, you have several options from off, 75 to 150 Hz. Off just has a flat response, or it lowers just a little bit of the 75 Hz, which can be from wind rumbling or proximity effect or in certain instruments, or the same as the 150 proximity effect, or certain instruments, maybe if they sound muddy, you can experiment to see which works for you. Then, as the name suggests, the limiter will limit some of the loud volumes and helps bring them back down a little bit from getting too out of control. And then with the compressor, which is similar to the limiter, is that right now it's off, so we have a very wide dynamic range from the very quiet to the very loud. But the more you add the compression from light to heavy, so depending on what you need it for, whether you're going to be singing or recording an instrument, you can set a light to heavy, and what it pretty much does is makes it very quiet and boosts it up, and then it lowers some of the louder range so that there's less dynamics from the quiet to loudest. So they're almost equalized in volume, almost. So we can talk very quiet here, and then when I hit heavy, it's gonna bring it up. And of course, not to forget, if you want to lock the settings in so no changes can be made, the lock is right there. And this has been the Shure MVX2U digital audio interface.